Yeah, because your man coverage, like pick a kid, roll with it. Like that is your assignment. Like guard them, defend them all night. Like hopefully they don't drop 50 on you. Like that is your person for the night. But like when you have 3 kids, like you got to work as a team. Hopefully your team chemistry is as good as the offense you're playing against.
So do you think that's why most families either have 2 or 5? Because after 3, they're like, well, we might as well get a basketball team here.
Yeah, I think
the winners just get cold is what really happens.
Well, it's funny the ideas that our fine women will give us of like, hey, we're pretty capable humans. Like I feel like we do a lot, we manage a lot, and like, hey, like we literally can't produce milk, but we can help in pretty much every other way. But somehow their advice goes that much further. And I'm kind of like removed and soundproof right now, so I can say that.
I'm actually barricaded with like bulletproof walls, so I can say this. Yeah. No, it's funny because I think that sometimes they forget that they have the ultimate trump card. So no matter what we do, they're always going to have a one-up on us. They have boobs. They can just breastfeed at any moment and be like, yep, problem's fixed. It's like, well, we don't have a trump card here.
Like,
we're all out of cards
I don't
here.
have boobs.
yeah, dude. Like we're all out of plays. Like we've
right.
got nothing to draw.
I forgot to ask for that when I was born. My bad.
Like there's no more plays on the chalkboard here. Like we're all out. But you've always got like, the HP blast up there that you can use at any moment, It's crazy.
I love receiving the constructive criticism,
I was just going to say along those lines, I feel like I have a pretty good memory, and especially like tell me once, I got it. Tell me twice, like, hey, shame on me, I should remember. So on the constructive criticism piece, if you tell me like, hey, hand up, like I don't know how to do it all. If you tell me like, hey, I'm going to retain that and I'm going to implement it next time. Well, then you do it and then it's wrong. And I'm like, okay, pause, time out. This is what I heard you say when. And that doesn't always go. Because I try to say like, hey, I heard you explain it this way to me last time when I did it wrong. And I was like, hey, I know I did it wrong last time, but now I'm correcting it and it's still wrong. So where's the void?
Yeah, dude, that was 2 weeks ago. Catch up.
Do you ever,
now it's wrong.
do you ever hear the words come out of their mouth and you hear exactly the words that come out of their mouth, and then later you get told that those words weren't actually what was meant to be said. It actually was something else.
The meaning part.
Yeah. I'm like, oh man, so now I gotta like decode these words as well, along with trying to figure out the baby.
Do you ever have to pretend that you definitely were listening when you were definitely not, and caught probably like 3 of the words in the whole like 3-minute spiel that they were talking about? And so you have to decode your own brain. You're like, man, I got 3 of those words. Let me try and guess this ad lib that I'm going to put together. Okay, so I heard car, I heard keys, and I heard, I don't know, like babysitter. Like, let's try to put that together. They're like, no, dude, I was talking about next Friday, our plans. I was like, I was really getting ready to leave. Like, I don't know. Like,
I get so process oriented. I'm like, okay, load the car. I'll grab the car seat. You got the diaper bag. And then like she's telling me something over here, but like I'm already on step like 2 or 3 out of the game plan. Like,
yeah,
stop talking about the plan I'm already executing.
Yeah, that train doesn't stop for anybody. No pivots. Like there's like, I'm like the least flexible person when it comes to like when something's working, like whether it's loading the car, like a nighttime process is like what I'm like very big about. Like nighttime process, we have a plan
I'm big
that works.
on this
like,
too.
we brush our teeth, we do a little bedtime story, we like, you know, she gets in her little sleep sack, whatever, she lays down, we give her a kiss, good night, turn off the lights, whatever. Sometimes our daughter likes to throw a little wrench. Sloan tries to do a little okey doke on Han, so she'll be like, oh mom, like blah blah blah, and she'll say something that Hannah will like stop and then talk to her. And I was like, nope, you're already roped into this process now. Now the process is broken. We usually just leave, turn off the light, and you go to bed. Now the whole process is done, and now you're like in this conversation with Sloan, who knows that she's got you. Like she's roped
give
you
her
in.
an inch, she'll take a mile.
Yeah, now she's training you.
Yeah, now we're 25 minutes in to Sloan like asking for different things. I need more water. I need a different binky. And I'm like, dude, this is what happens when you don't follow the play. We had a script. We had a script. We went off script, and now we're here. Now we're 25 minutes delayed. So this is what happens.
Yeah.
Duncan, how are you?
Doing good, guys. Good to tune in and catch up a little bit. I would definitely agree as I'm listening to the first couple minutes. It's all about the playbook. If you stick to the playbook, I mean, there's going to be some audibles, but for the most part, your game plan should play out. And I think that we know if you go off script, then it's like 2-minute offense is like all you've got hope for. No timeouts. Like it's just.
Well, and then you wonder why it fell apart, and you're like, okay, let's look at what got us here. Oh, there's a flaw. Like,
yeah, then you feel like you're in a 2-minute drill with Tim Tebow, and you're like, this ain't gonna work. So good luck.
Well, and we all played football or baseball, and you know what every coach is thinking. It's guys, it boils down to the fundamentals. It's like even if we had the playbook, it's got to be the fundamentals. And so if you don't get back to what you know works, I mean, that's why it's there. That's the basic.
Yeah, quit with the trick plays. Like go with what we know, like fundamentals. Like I'm
Yeah,
Tim
we're
Duncan
not-
in the paint at night. Like don't ruin the fundamentals here. Like give me a little pick and roll. Like I just need simplicity. Like I don't need a fade screen on the high side, whatever. Like just give me the ball down low. I'll put it in. Just let's go to bed. Yeah.
I think what's
So-
key, you always have to have your release man. You always have to have the little tight end dump or like the release to the flats. Like if all else fails, you always know that one thing's gonna work.
you need a reset. Like sometimes when like Kennedy's just having it, and I'm sure everybody can relate. It's like, okay, reset. Like you have to have just a quick like, hey, get everybody together. Hey, it's not working.
Quick
Don't
little
try.
timeout. You take a
Yeah.
little 30, and you start.
You got to spike the ball, get everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
Because
So,
Matt's
like,
don't have
know how
timeouts
to-
in this situation.
We'll do a little toss up
Yeah,
in the
that's
air, like something to jog
Yeah.
the system. Like, okay, what's happening? Like, let's wake up. One thing that you guys said that we didn't touch on, but I think we need to go back to. You said how you gave up. Like, the move is a big thing already, but mostly when you become a dad, you kind of have to give up something. I heard this on a podcast about like dads and kids and being outnumbered. Well, this guy had his third kid. He said he put it as when he had 2 kids, like, good, your man coverage, you're good. You have a third and it's you and mom, and now you have 3 kids and you're not even playing zone. Like at
You're on
that
penalty
point,
kill.
Yeah.
Like, you're done.
And so this was like a twofold. He put it that way in terms of being outnumbered, but he said like when you had 2 kids, like you have to give up pretty much all but like one hobby. Like you get to pick one thing and like you can do it. So if you work out, that's it. If you play games, like that's it. If you're on a softball team, like that's the one thing. When you have 3, he's like, say goodbye for a couple years. You don't get a hobby. Like your hobby is trying to keep up with being outnumbered.
I think Big Cat said it, but he was like, when you have like parents will understand this, but when you have 1 kid, you have 1 kid. When you have 2 kids, you have 2 kids. When you have 3 kids, you have 1,000. And that is every parent that has 3 kids always says it's so true. Like you just can't keep up. Like you might as well be herding 1,000 kids because 3 kids is just as good as like, yeah, because you're
That's
right.
great.
Man coverage, like pick a kid, roll with it. Like that is your assignment. Like guard them, defend them all night. Like hopefully they don't drop 50 on you. Like that is your person for the night. But like when you have 3 kids, like you got to work as a team. Hopefully your team chemistry is as good as the offense you're playing against.
So do you think that's why most families either have 2 or 5? Because after 3, they're like, well, we might as well get a basketball team here.
Yeah, I think
the winters just get cold is what really happens.
Well, Colton, you're from Alaska, so your perspective is a little bit different because it's always cold.
I think people with 3 kids just start seeing tax breaks roll in, and they're like, might as well just have as many as I can.
Hey, honestly, after I finished this year's right away to see where it would come in at, and if that's the last good thing that Biden did on the way out, like I'll take the child tax credit. That was pretty good.
Yeah, Scotty came on the perfect time, December 15th. So I was happy that we slipped in the tax break right before the end of the year.
That's
awesome.
a good.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, thank God it's an election year. Nice.
Clay, as the vet dad among the group, like you are 2-on-2 right now, and you have 2 under 3. Is Sloan will be 3 in September.
Yeah, October. Yeah, she'll be 3 in October.
Yeah.
So yeah, just go back real quick to the hobby thing though. Like it's true.
Yeah.
Like the like I don't know about having 3 kids. I don't know anything about that, but I can imagine it's you don't have a lot of free time on your hands. And like if you do have some free time, you're probably so scared to ask for some like, hey, can I go golfing? Your wife's like looking at you like, dude, really? I'm 3 on 1 here. Like, are you kidding me?
That would be a lot harder.
How dare you ask me? I can imagine that probably is said a lot in those households. Even having 2 kids, though, like you guys know, even just having 1, it's like the guilt that you feel asking to do something is like, it's not that you can't do it, or it's not that you can't like go out and golf or go out and like have beers with the boys or something, but like the instant guilt that you feel asking that question of like, you just know you're burdening somebody else, which is just like a mental killer. You're like, damn, I'm about to burden you for the whole night. So strap in because my ask is about to be heavy. So yeah, I totally agree with like, you definitely need to find a hobby though. Like, I think it's important to not give up every hobby because there is some like good benefits of like taking a step back, being able to reset yourself, and then coming back a little bit stronger. Because if you're in the trenches 24/7, there's just no way you're like the best parent you can be, right? Like there's just absolutely no way you're working at full capacity. So I do wholeheartedly believe like you do need to like keep a hobby. I'm not saying you should keep a ton of hobbies. I'm sure that would be problematic, but yeah, I'm definitely down with the hobby game. And two, like for your spouse, like I think it's important that you allow your spouse to keep their hobbies too. I think that, a lot of times the women get, stuck with the kiddos at home and they're the ones that are unable to go out, and you kind of see them deteriorate over time because it's like they haven't seen the sun in like 8 days in a row. And you're like, okay, it's time to kick them out and go for a coffee break and stuff like that. So I think that, I think that it's a good thing for you to be encouraging of them being able to go out and do their thing. Also, it's reciprocated. So like if you let them go out, I'm sure like you earn a brownie point for yourself to like, use at a future date. So always remember that.
I was going to say, I think we have to discuss between the 4 of us, have some pretty good like first months of experience right here. Finding the balance, like a little bit like, hey, you get to do something, she gets to do something. But like, I think the special, like the tie-in is, hey, like, what if I take the kid? What if, we need to go get stuff at the store? Like, I'll take her. And like, that's a good one. That's like an hour, hour and a half. Well, depends what they put on the grocery list. I should have been home and back. I should have been literally last week. I
This
should
is
have
so
been
true.
home and back in a half hour, maybe 45 minutes. And I stood in the spices aisle for 25 minutes of my trip. And I was like, this doesn't exist. Okay. Tell me, have you ever heard of Ceylon cinnamon?
No.
Say that again.
It's called Ceylon cinnamon. Ever heard of it? Sounds pretty
Nah,
made
no
up,
What's
chance.
wrong
Right?
with
Find
regular cinnamon?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fake.
right.
That's like a
So
Mario Brothers thing.
you know how usually you kind of like just scan over and like you catch the first letter, you know what color the product package is or whatever, right? I'm looking like the most intently that I've ever looked at any aisle and all the spice names and everything. They don't have it. I look up on the website and I was like, when you're at like Home Depot or whatever and it tells you the aisle and the bay number and you're like, I would rather look it up than ask somebody. I
That's
Yes.
looked up to see if they had it at that store and they didn't. And I called Hannah. I was like, did you make this up? Because like they don't have it. It says like ship to the store, delivery to your house. Like they don't have it. So my point with that is I made a 45-minute round trip into like almost 2 hours, but I had the kiddo with me. So right there, hey, it takes a little bit longer, but like she's at home doing whatever she needs. Like if she's getting stuff together for work tomorrow or hair or nails or whatever, but like I didn't feel like I had to rush, even though I was on a mission that I was given with a little bit inadequate information. I feel like that's a
Forever.
good balance thing. And then you wouldn't say, like, then if you're like, hey, I have a softball game coming up, or hey, I'm going to go get beers with the guys, like, you don't use that as ammo, but it's like, it's planted, it's there.
I feel like
Yeah, I
Hunter,
think
you
that we
might
actually
have,
just figured out that Hannah's strategy is giving Hunter fake items on the grocery list so
Yeah.
she can spend more time alone. So, congrats to all of us for uncovering that on a podcast live. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Good
that's
for her.
exactly
dude.
what I was thinking.
She'll just
Hunter
keep finding spices.
was totally got in the spice aisle. And my question for Clay and Colton would be, Hunter spent 25 minutes looking for whatever the S cinnamon was. How long would you guys would have stood there and just grabbed the normal cinnamon and gone home? Because I'm thinking over under like 4 minutes in the spice
I
aisle.
was instructed not to do that.
I wouldn't have grabbed I wouldn't have grabbed the regular cinnamon, but I will agree. Like I would way rather look it up and try to find it without admitting defeat and talking to any like these people don't know me, but I'm not admitting defeat to them, So,
Yeah, I'm
but I
gonna
think at a
conquer the
certain
list.
point, I would have asked somebody and been like, "Hey, do you even know what this is? Like, does this exist?" Because this did happen to me before we had kids. Mackenzie was looking. Actually, not Mackenzie. My wife, my mom. When we were dating in college, my mom was looking for picolettes when we were coming. They were coming for Thanksgiving to college. Do you guys know what picolettes are?
No chance.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Neither did I. Mackenzie hit me with the, "Oh, you're so dumb, picolettes. That must be like little chopped up pickles." And I'm like, "Isn't that called relish? Isn't that what people call it?"
And she didn't
So-
even have a reason to be alone on her own. She didn't even have a
Yeah.
kid at that point. She was just messing with Colton. She was
Yeah.
like, man, I can't
So-
wait to see him be in the grocery store by himself for an hour and a half.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how long, but I probably would have asked somebody and I would have been really pissed because I hate when I get given a list of some made up food. I'm like, this isn't even real. Like, what is this?
The
Dude,
rest
so-
of and this is like babies aside. This is just like husband and wife, just like, hey,
This is
just
Mackenzie getting something back at Colton for some reason. Like Colton did something.
Yeah.
He's like, picolettes, idiot. Like, go get them. Colton's like, what are you talking about? Hunter,
still
I just
thinks
want
I'm
to. Well, I think wives just inherently think their husbands are dumb. That's just a fact. That's just a thing that we live with nowadays. But Hunter, I just want to clarify. Fitz said that you need to go to the store, get this certain type of cinnamon, not ask anybody for help, and don't get another cinnamon. Do I have that correct?
She didn't say to not ask for help. That was just the internal, like Colton said.
Gotcha,
But
man.
the instruction to not get regular cinnamon was part of it. Yes,
She's like, "This is the type of cinnamon I'm looking for." What were you guys making?
it
Yeah.
was some health. I have no idea. You know how you can, like, if you go to Jamba Juice or like the healthy section in the grocery store, and you get like the overpriced healthy immunity shots that are like $5. Well, she was
So
going to make those on her own at home.
Gotcha.
So what I failed to mention, so the ingredients for it was like honey, turmeric, ginger, and this Ceylon cinnamon. So I got the ginger root. It's like an actual plant. I was like, boom, got it. That's an unusual one. I go to get turmeric, which I thought was just like it's in like a spice shaker. And I knew that like I've heard of that. I know what turmeric is. But she also instructed me to get the plant version, just like the ginger root, not a ginger like shaker. So I actually asked somebody, hey, do you guys have turmeric? And he's like, what's that? And this was before the other
turmeric
thing.
is like a normal thing, though. That
Yeah,
is
right.
for a storm
So
boy not to know.
do you think I'm going to ask somebody after I already struck out, especially on something that I've never heard of?
Oh, I would just keep the same guy. I would just ask the same guy.
I saw him later.
Nothing for you.
I almost just wanted to throw something and see. You know, it was like probably a high school like stalker or something.
Yeah, it's like out of 15 questions, he's hitting like 250. You're like, dude, you gotta be better than this. Like, what's going on here?
Hunter, next time I would just say, like, before you even leave the house, like, do some homework to make sure
Order
that
it on
like,
Amazon.
yeah, like, okay, your salon cinnamon, like, let's make sure that it actually exists first. That's yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, that was
Did
rough.
did you end up like, was Impractical Jokers there? Like Sal and Murr were hanging out with like the thing behind
I was
the counter?
I was ready for somebody to come down off the rafters or something. That was like I was the only one in the spice aisle just pushing the cart back and forth. I mean the
Hunter
stroller.
realized that the
I had
only store
actually-
that stocked it was like in Lansing, Michigan. So
Oh yeah,
That's-
something like that. Also, this just reminded me. If you guys have taken the kiddo to the store with you, what's the best move for the stroller or car seat with the shopping cart?
We use the stroller as the shopping cart.
Okay,
oh, like that.
must be
I
going
have
right.
a couple takes. I took the day off yesterday because Mandy had to work and Aubrey's daycare was closed, and so I tackled the feat of Costco in the morning and Winco in the afternoon because we were like bone
ambitious.
dry in the fridge. And I didn't want to do it all in one because I knew that one of them would turn into a disaster if I tried to do both. And so that was a good call. However, I did not have the carrier for the morning one. And so luckily that was the Costco trip. Costco's carts are bigger than the average grocery store cart. So the entire car seat fit in the basket of the cart. And if I was doing a full Costco run, it wouldn't have worked, but I went and stuck to the list and everything fit either in the kid sitting part next to the car seat or underneath. So that was a win.
Nice.
And then I did tackle Winco with the front pack carrier. It's nice to have both hands and be mobile, but also bending down into the Winco cart, and then also forgot that you have to bag your own groceries at Winco. And so we're at Costco, they just load it up in the box and go. Definitely an underrated skill with a child on your front when you haven't done that before. So we made it.
Yeah, they actually
but-
gave you a job, probably.
yeah. I should have just hired like a high school kid that was in the next aisle over. Like, hey, if I give you $10, will you just do this?
Dude, I think the best life hack ever now being a parent, like we definitely don't grocery shop in the store. Like we are pickup only. Like
Yeah.
I throw the back of the SUV open and they just stuff the back full of God knows what, you know.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was gonna say when you said going light. If we have to go to the grocery store, like we're in and out. We're not going there to make friends. We like super antisocial. You know, we might as well be double masking or something. You know, we're in and out.
I will say the pickup is a game changer. If you do like the Albertsons drive up, I mean, you'll spend a little bit more, but the time that you save unloading the car, getting the stroller out,
Yeah,
going through
so
the
worth
aisles,
it.
like just spend more and drive up 5 minutes done. They're always so friendly. You hold up your phone to the window, scan the code, and you're good to go.
100%. It
I
makes me
always
think
feel
of
so
like
awkward.
it
I
is a
always
little bit
get out
awkward.
and I'm like, help them. I'm like, hey, let me help. Like, I'll put some bags in here too. Like,
Colton's looking for a paycheck at the end of these things. It's
Yeah.
like
I just
the
feel
guy-
bad. It just I don't know. It just feels weird. Like you just, they roll up and they're just gonna like load it into. I don't know. I always help.
I used to.
but
I'll be
I've-
honest. I used to do that too. I used to load it with him, and now I'm just like, I'm sorry, dude. Like I don't know. I'm a father of two. Sue me. Like just throw it in the back.
Man, I haven't done the pickup.
Oh,
it's,
Hunter,
dude,
dude.
usually, oh yeah, grocery stores usually do it free now. It's not even an extra charge. Like you just roll up to pick up, and they throw everything in the back, and you're good to go.
That's
wonderful.
clutch. I do have to say, I can relate on not letting other people do stuff. I was in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru with Hannah, and I was in the driver's seat, and the car overheated, so I shut it off, and like there's water on the ground, and best place to be stuck, the Chick-fil-A employees, there's 3 people in red aprons pushing the car through the rest of the way through the drive-thru. Got the bag out the window. They confirmed the order as we're rolling. Like, order for Hunter, 2 Chick-fil-A sandwiches, 3 sauce, 1 fry, and like we get it as we're rolling. And I was like, Hannah, jump over the console. I'm not letting somebody else push my car. So I jump out and I help push. The supervisor at that Chick-fil-A was pushing the car. Like, that's top tier.
Damn,
That's their pleasure.
that's
for
impressive.
Sure.
Yeah. Dude, a side note, I just saw that Boise is about to build like their 3rd In-N-Out. So they like Boise got 1 and all of a sudden is like now In-N-Out crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, the next one's going to be by the Boise Mall. So I'm like, okay, you take 2
Whoa.
of the busiest places in Idaho and put In-N-Outs at them.
Dude, you know what? You know what kills me? So you guys know we used to live off McMillan and Black Hat. They're building one on 10 Mile in Chinden, right there, like right by where I don't know if you guys
Those
know
office
where
buildings and
Costco.
stuff.
it's right by the Costco.
Oh, yeah.
But it would have been like I don't know. We could have walked to the In-N-Out, and
That's
we're just like sitting there
insane.
like, damn, yeah.
Somebody
crazy.
who
Also, I
knows
heard-
more. Go ahead, Dunk.
I was going to say, I heard Raising Cane's is also coming. And then if you're a fan of any type of hot chicken, I think every hot chicken place has come. We have Dave's Hot. We have Nashville Hot. We have like extra fiery hot. It's like all the hot chickens are in the Treasure Valley now.
That's awesome. Boy, I don't know how Boise got in with just like all the southern chains, but they did, and it's awesome.
Like the number of Chick-fil-A restaurants in the Treasure Valley per capita is probably just wild. I think there's probably more Chick-fil-A's in the Treasure Valley than all of Western Washington. And you look at the population difference, it's pretty wild.
Well,
It's
Hunter-
crazy to look at all the maps though. It's like these chains are like literally Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Boise, Idaho. You're like,
Right.
Why?
Oh, yeah.
Why? How? Like, what's going on here? Like Tupelo,
I mean-
honey, is like the most wild place to be in Boise. It's such a southern thing.
I think the main difference in Chick-fil-A's per capita in Western Washington and then Boise, Idaho is probably the amount of people who like Jesus. I think it's a pretty good correlation.
That's true.
I didn't want to be the one to say it, but I thought that.
Yeah, Spokane can't build them fast enough right now. They're like, thank goodness.
That is a good point about the Treasure Valley. Like, I don't know, somebody from Salt Lake drives through and they're like, wait, I thought we were driving north. And, all of a sudden they end up in Boise and they're like, what are all these restaurants here? But I thought the thing with In-N-Out that they could never expand was because it had to be X amount of miles from the distribution center. So somebody who knows more about In-N-Out will have to tell us, did they build another distribution center or what happened?
Budgets got tight, and some things are now no longer the expectation. So In-N-Out's like, profits over people. Here we go. Let's do this.
I think
we'll freeze our meat. We don't care.
Build another distribution center, or I'm thinking maybe the freezer trucks got some more capacity, and then instead of like 8 hours, it's 10. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I've heard that In-N-Out's coming, and some insight that I heard last week is this is the best launch for an In-N-Out that they've ever had. So
wow.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, it's
People
literally
are
on the
eating burgers.
busiest road in Idaho. I can imagine
Yeah.
that they got quite the traffic.
Busiest intersection. You could sit turning left from Fairview to Eagle Road for 5 light cycles and still not turn left. And it's a 2-lane.
I'm totally sidetracking this whole conversation, but there was actually a girl I worked with that used to work at Sensi, and she said that in the mornings she had to turn left there to get into Sensi because she was coming from Eagle Road, and she had to she like clocked it one day. It took her 21 minutes to get in the 21 minutes in the left turn lane to get across traffic to get to Sensi. So she literally had to like start her travel so early because of that one light. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's got to be the worst light in Idaho. I'll live there for sure.
And now they built an In-N-Out next to it, so I'm sure it's going to get a lot better.
And then, I mean, they put an In-N-Out there, and then kitty corner to that worst light in Idaho is a field of like 100 acres with nothing on it. So in 5 years, when that's full of Village 2.0, I'm not even going to come close to that.
Dude, all the development plans are so wild. I still follow a lot of Boise dev stuff, and like they're trying to build that Village 2.0 by 10 Mile and 10 Mile and some. It's like right on the off ramp of 10 Mile, but they're trying to build like a 250 shop complex right there, which is just insane. I never thought that 10 Mile would become like the epicenter of Meridian, but here we are. 10 Mile used to be so far away. I used to be like, dude, I might as well live in Spokane if I'm this far away from Boise. But now it's like the middle of Idaho.
I remember when we lived in college, and I thought going from campus to the mall was far.
Yeah.
Like that's
Same.
like that was like a 10-minute drive, and I thought that was like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy how that's all changed. Okay. There's one thing for dads and daughters here that gotta know. So in a couple of years, and Clay's actually closer than all of us, talking about preschool at the beginning of this. But you're coaching a softball team. Do you go for a Major League Baseball team like we all probably had when we were kids? Or do you go like the Flash, the Heat, the Rockets, the Guardians, something like that?
Great question.
I mean, I'll start. My gut would be as baseball players when we were little and who grew up playing on the Mariners and the Dodgers and the Reds and all those random teams that someone's dad picked. Like, I think that would be cool, but I feel like it's so trendy now for like the softball teams to have their little like red tank tops and it's like Heat with a softball and flames across the front, or like the Pack, and you're like, I don't know what the Pack is, but it's like it's not like there's no S on the end of any of the softball names. It's like the Heat, the Pack, the freeze. Like it's like, where did you come up with these names? So I feel like that's where all of our fate lies.
I feel like it depends on how good the team is. Does that sound bad? Like,
Hmm.
I feel like all of those teams are like elite softball teams. Like they're like
Is there
the
an
select
age
softball.
when you start looking at that, or you're talking like 4 or 5 years old? Like, hey, if they're good
You
or
know right
not.
out of the gate. Maybe year one's a little early, but by year two, you know who's got it and who doesn't.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I'll be honest. That's like one of the things that I absolutely dread. Like, I played baseball in high school. Like, I consider myself a like participant of athletics at some point, but like raising kids who are playing sports in this day and age sounds like an absolute nightmare. Like people are trying to put select teams together, select basketball teams, AAU teams, things like that at like 5 years old. I'm like, dude, my kid still like shits on the floor. Like I don't know. Like I don't think that we should be putting this team together. Like I just don't think that this is like the priority right now. So I don't know. Like I love sports. I think that sports do a lot for people, but man, like how competitive and how like polarizing sports are. Even just the kid, I forget the kid's name, who got drafted like third overall in the last MLB draft, but he literally had a YouTube channel in high school, like from 14 to 18. And his YouTube channel had like 3 million followers by the time he got drafted. And like, that was one of the reasons why he got drafted, is because he promoted himself. It's like, that's the world that we live in. Not it. Like, obviously there's talent involved, but like, there's just so much extra stuff beyond like being good at a sport. It's like the money that you put into it and stuff like that. I was at the barbershop and one of the ladies was talking about their son doing this college baseball like tournament, and each tournament that they were doing, and she was like, yeah, we're doing 6 tournaments this year with the team. It's like a $1,200 per kid entry fee each one. I was like doing the math in my head real quick. I'm like, wait, what? Like, and these were not like local tournaments. These were like, we were in Alabama, so they were in like Georgia, they were in Tennessee. Like, these are all tournaments that the parents are having to road trip to, get a hotel at, get like multiple day hotel stays and stuff like that. It's like, at the end of the day, it was going to be like a $15,000 summer for these parents. It's like, damn,
Yeah,
that's
someone's
brutal.
laughing all the way to the bank there.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. Crazy,
Whatever card
crazy
you
how
put
kids
on like the summer softball classic, that dude's just like cashing checks all summer.
I just remember when athletics used to be like very local, right? It's like you just play against the kids that are in your town. You get better, you have a good time, you make your best friends in sports. That's like what sports are, like there's maybe one kid from your whole town that like goes D1 or like goes to college, but like besides that, it's like all these parents think their kids are like going to be the next number 1 draft pick in whatever sport they're playing. It's like, they're not. They're just not. So also I'm probably going to have like 5'1" daughters. So like there's very limited opportunity here. I'll be honest.
Yeah, where are we looking at the percentiles here?
Yeah, so I think softball is basically their only shot at like a happy varsity career in high school. Maybe soccer, but
Hey, you could be a
dad.
gymnast being short.
Yeah, gym is great. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about kids being in youth gym being good for kids and understanding their bodies and like being able to grow up and be strong and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people that did gym that I knew that were good athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's something that I've talked to Mackenzie about. Not that like super into gymnastics, but I think like I think there's a lot of good benefits from it. Just like the big one is balancing and just learning body control and stuff like that. So yeah, we've talked about doing that. I don't know at what age, but I mean, sooner the better. But I think that also could just be good for like a life skill too. Not even.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Is like I don't know about you guys, but being girl dads, it's much different. Like female sports are much different than male sports when it comes to like camaraderie, culture within a team, things like that. honestly, I can't even speak to what female culture is around like teams and stuff. Like, I'm sure there's like some similarities, but like, I've thought a lot about like making sure that our daughters are in team sports just because I think that you learn a lot about how to like work within a team, socialize, communicate. Like you see a lot of people, and I know all three of you know this, but like you get in the workforce and there are some people that you're like, damn, like I can pretty much tell your background right off the bat. Like you've never worked with another person in your entire life. Like you've been an individual contributor or like an individual athlete your entire life, like no matter what, because they get in the workforce and they like literally can't build relationships or like communicate with other people, and they're just a nightmare to work with. So I think that that is one of the important things when it comes to sports is like putting them in situations where they have to work within a team and like, you know, work together and build team chemistry and, you know, not be a problem child when it comes to that. I think it directly translates to the workforce.
Yeah, that's a huge life lesson. Like that you wouldn't even think like, yeah, there's value in like a variety of sports and different stuff. But I mean, I'm just thinking of that right now, like people that I work with or have worked with, like that's such a good point that some people you're like, have you ever had to like have any sort of communication with another person who's not in your family or that you've never met before?
Right. Yeah. It's tough. Stop me if this sounds exactly like what work is like. You are literally forced to be in the same place as other people. But instead of getting paid, you get a diploma at the end of it. Like there's a reward at the end of the 4 years, but you're forced to be in the same place with people from all different walks of life, all different races, religions, whatever. And you have to get along with them in some ways. You don't have to like them. You don't have to hang out with them outside of school, but you have to at least get along with them in some sense. And so I think that it's so important for kids. Like Hunter and I were talking about how COVID impacted kids going to school and stuff. And honestly, that's one detriment I can see big time is like those kids growing up and not knowing how to like be within a group of people and having like severe social anxiety because they've never had to like exist within a large group of people or a team or honestly a company. So those things are just like direct correlations in my mind.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of good things that come from team sports. You know, I mean, that's the biggest one is being able to work on a team. And, but I mean, I don't know. I think there, you know, besides everybody wants to get caught up on going pro and stuff like that. But I think there's so many good things that come from sports and athletics. Yeah. So
not to get us stuck on the sports thing too, but like not only working within a team, but like you also understand when you work within a company and like an organization who has and has not like faced a little adversity in their life, you know, like in team sports, even in individual sports. I think that individual sports do this a lot too, and this is where, you know, they come in as like, there's a lot of times where you're not going to get first place or even like second or third. You know, there's going to be a lot of times where you fall on your face or like strike out or miss a shot, whatever. And it's like those learning how to recover from those is again a direct correlation of like, you're not always going to hit a home run at work. You're not always going to have like a good day at work. There's some feedback that you're probably going to have to take at some point, whether it's negative, positive, or whatever. It's like you're going to have to get yourself up off the mat. And so I think that is another really important thing that sports do is learning how to take adversity and be able to like get back up and recover from it. I think that there's a lot of parents and like, it's hard not to be the parent that like shields your kids from everything. And it's like, I don't want my kid to go through any adversity because like that sucks to watch. Right. But it's, at the end of the day, you're like doing your kids a disservice if they've never faced an ounce of adversity, because like the world just doesn't work like that. Like they get in the real world, they get to college and like fail a class or like meet somebody at a party or something. And like, you know, that is not, you know, agreeing with them. It's going to be a bad time. So I think that there's a lot of those positives in individual sports too.
Well, you see it even, I mean, it's like instant gratification. You see it with kids. I mean, in college transferring, you know, they go to a school and they get promised whatever bag of goods, and it doesn't work out for whatever reason, and instead of sitting there and trying to grind and get to climbing the ladder like you would out in the corporate world, you're like, well, actually, it's greener over here, so I'm just gonna bounce and go over to this situation. And like, I don't really think, I don't really know what that's teaching you post college athletics, or you know what I mean, like when you get out in the real world.
Yeah,
like
outside of
not,
whatever that is.
yeah, it's I don't really see how that's beneficial. Like maybe in the short term you're getting some sort of gratification out of it because now all of a sudden you're starting, or maybe now you're the best athlete on campus or something, but what's that doing for you long term? I don't know.
Because I mean, those kids turn into is job hoppers. Like
Yeah.
they'll literally get into the workforce and be like, "Oh, my boss told me I have to be on time today and held me accountable. I guess I got to move from McDonald's to Burger King. Like I don't know, like I got to move on, So like those people turn into long-term job hoppers, and like if people don't think there's a direct correlation, like there is, and so you have to be cognizant of that, especially as parents.
And that's not to say like there's obviously bad. There could be bad situations, but you guys know what I'm talking about, where the kids, the kids I'm talking about at schools nowadays with the transfer portal and NIL and stuff like that literally are just like, boo, 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 bouncing around. And
well, and it's like with that, like, where's the loyalty too? Like, don't you want to build on something that you've worked hard for, and like, not in a cheesy way, but how do you grow if you're not planted? Like, you have to be invested into somewhere. And talk about building relationships. It's with coaches, it's with teammates, and like we've all seen, now that we're 10 years removed from sports or more, like how valuable that time was with our teammates in the locker room. And like ultimately, a lot of things that we do nowadays is trying to replicate that locker room feel. Really, I mean, you want to chat with the boys, you want to like emulate that in a bar setting, like whatever it is. But those relationships, that banter, like I wouldn't want to restart that every year with a new team if I was hopping between colleges, just like you wouldn't want to do that with a job going place to place to place. Like I've had a couple more jobs than I've wanted to because of bad situations or whatever else, but like it's not awesome. And you literally walk in like it's the first day of school, or you just move to a new town like for the first time, and that sucks.
Yeah, it's like you're on a Netflix show and it's like season 5 episode 4, and all of a sudden there's a new character, and that character's you, and like you don't know what's been happening on these previous 5 seasons, but now all of a sudden you're here. And like, you got to figure out the dynamic, and
One thing that Clay, you mentioned is with us having girls, who knows if any of us will have a boy or not, but the dynamic of coaching, well, not even coaching, but just having girls who will, whether they participate in activities like choir or band or art, or it is sports, like how to talk with them, and how like building that communication that we're so used to something else, or we'd get in the car and our dad or our grandpa's like, hey, like good job up there, but I know you could have hit that one, or I know you could have hit that guy harder, or whatever it was. Whereas like we're using that as like our motivation and our driving force. How are we going to be able to take what we know and is like probably in the back of our mind, and then be able to translate that into something that they'll be able to receive and then use as their output of like, okay, this is like how they're hearing it, and this will speak to them in this way. That's just going to be totally new for us. I mean, I know like if we've had sisters or whatever, like we might have heard some of that, but that's going to be brand new.
Yeah, 100%. And it's different for each kid, right? It's like we can sit here and say like every one of our daughters are going to take the same advice the same way. It's like it wouldn't be right? So like every kid is either like a softer kid, or they can take feedback really well, or they can't. Like you just have to feel that out. Do you guys think that you'll coach when your kids get of age, like whatever sport they're in. Yeah, to be honest, like I don't know anything about like soccer. Like if Sloan or Scotty plays like soccer, I'll be like, dude, I don't know. Like we're gonna have to go find a coach. Like I don't know.
I think, yeah, I think it would depend what the sport is. I've always wanted to be a coach. Like my dream job would be to be a high school coach, like for football, high school football coach. I would love that. Obviously, you can't really do that unless you're in Texas. So maybe Colton has the best shot out of all of us. But yeah, I think if it was the right sport, and especially like I would say under 12 or 13, when it probably doesn't matter as much, I think I could confidently coach softball or basketball. Basketball would even be a little more of a stretch, but like at a younger age, I think I can get away with it. If it was anything like soccer or volleyball or I don't know what else, I don't know. I don't know if I could fake my way through it very much. Like I might be able to be an assistant, but yeah, I'd only be able to fake it with a couple.
Yeah, Mackenzie, that's funny that you guys asked. Mackenzie asked me this the other day, and I told her, I was like, yeah, I think I would definitely do like baseball. She's like, you wouldn't do hockey? And I was like, I really don't think so, to be completely honest. Like, I don't know, maybe when they're little, but yeah, probably once things start getting a little bit competitive, that's when I'm kind of like, I'm probably going to
100%.
be out on it as a coach, you know?
Yeah,
But,
because I mean, at some level, you're like a glorified babysitter, like until
Yeah.
they're like 6, right? So it's like
Yeah.
I used to one of my first jobs ever. I was a Skyhawks coach, so like
Oh yeah,
I did like Skyhawks coaching in the summers, which was actually really fun. But there is absolutely like no skill required
It's
for a lot of those.
babysitting.
Like you're just running people through drills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So.
one question on the coaching that I thought of earlier, so I'm glad that it came up, is say that you're confident, you're comfortable coaching whatever sport it is. We'll use softball for this example, that we can all get behind. Hey, I can be the manager of a softball team from 7 to 12 years old. That's a pretty good sweet spot 5-year range. How are you looking for your assistant coach? Because Lord knows that we all need some help, but are you taking like somebody that you played ball with or like somebody local, or does it have to be a dad of another girl that you're like, dude, this guy I can just tell doesn't look qualified. I don't think I'm going to get very good results out of him, but I need some help. Like, is that what you resort to, or how do we pick the assistant?
I think you feel it out, and I mean, you want to. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier about being competitive and stuff, but I'm sorry, like I am trying to win. So like
100%.
you know what I mean? So like as much as that nice guy probably wants to help out, like I'm sorry, buddy. Like when was the last time you put on a glove? Like, do you even know how to use this?
Yeah, or then
do you know how to work a pitching machine? Like,
so
come
to
on
that
now.
point too, like, okay, you get the nice guy dad because literally nobody else will help, but then you notice like they're not even on the fundamentals of like, well, I guess this was for like baseball, but like the scrape the table for the pitchers to like, and then you reach all the way back, like they don't even know how to instruct proper throwing techniques. Are you taking him off to the side, or are you like, hey, Coach James, come over here. I gotta talk with you about something, and have a little sideline talk?
Man, you're gonna coach a grown man how to throw a baseball? I'm not having that conversation.
Yeah, dude. You just put him on like perma snack duty. You just say,
Yeah.
yo, like this is
Administrative
main
leave.
You know what I would rather do than teach a grown man how to throw a baseball? I'd rather just coach that kid twice. Like have that James guy coach them and then pull the kid aside and be like, hey, listen, he's a really nice guy, but here's what you really need to like. I would rather take twice the amount of time than tell that guy how to do it.
I'd honestly take the passive aggressive route. I'd just never tell that kid how to throw a baseball. Their career would be ruined forever. Like, I'm sorry, Coach James, like he just ruined you for like life. Like, I don't know how to tell you this, but like, yeah, like good luck learning how to throw in high school because your 6 years of Little League is just totally down the drain. And I don't have the heart to tell Coach James that he's actually left-handed and he keeps throwing right-handed. So,
One thing I will say though, something that maybe we haven't really thought about because we all played baseball, but like we're coaching softball in this situation. So like we have a whole nother like group of women that are like typically in baseball, you would never like, I mean, my mom helped coach baseball a little bit, but like usually you didn't really see a lot of moms being coaches, but like I think with softball, there's probably a whole lot of untapped potential that you could really, utilize there as well. So, I don't know. I think that would be interesting.
I'm always down to help. Like I love sports. So like, and I know you guys do too. So like, I'm always down to help, like whatever. But I really do hope that there's like some parent on every level of my kid's journey that is just like good at that sport, that is like known for being like the softball coach. Then I'm like, okay, chill. Like, this is awesome. I take him to practice. I take him to practice. We practice at home. It's like this really great relationship where it's like, maybe I don't have to coach. It's like, I can see benefits of coaching them, but it's like, at the same time, it's like, if there's somebody that is clearly a softball coach or like a basketball coach, like, trust me, I'm not going to like force my way onto the coaching staff and be like, listen, here's what we should do instead. Like, that is not going to be my vibe. So I'm going to let the coaches take the reins and they'll do their thing.
Yeah. I was going to say basically anybody with any prior experience, whether like collegiate or semi-pro or anything like that, like, hey, you got it. I'd love to help out. I feel like I can contribute a little bit, but like, hey, fundamentals, you got it.
Yeah. Hey, I'll just play catch with the kids. How about that?
Yeah.
You guys do your thing, especially softball. Like softball, as much as I'd like to say that I would know softball, like softball's a different game. Like it just is. Like there's a lot of intricacies that baseball has that softball doesn't, and vice versa. Like I'd have to like get familiar again. I feel like, there's fundamentals, fielding a ground ball, catching a pop fly, throwing motions, but like, to be honest, I couldn't teach a kid to pitch a softball.
Oh, hell no.
I don't know. I don't know how to do that. Like,
you ever tried to throw a ball underarm, like underhand?
No, it goes like 7 miles an hour.
Like
tops.
And not any sort of direction I want it to go.
No.
That's a good point too. And this is where like I feel like I have finite knowledge of even being able to potentially coach, because like right now, well, Kennedy's whole life so far, she's been like 98th or 99th percentile in height. She's pretty long, and
Dang.
So I'm like, then if she's like volleyball or basketball, like what? Then I'm in the stands, but I'm pretty competitive, so I don't know if I could just sit there. So like I'd be happy to help out, but then to Colton's point, I don't want to be the nice guy who doesn't know anything and just wants to help. Then I'm that guy.
Yeah, but I think like Hunter, I think like you're not that nice guy, like the guy that like hasn't played sports before and his kid like watched something on TV and was like, "Oh, I want to do this," and the dad's like, "All right, let's do it."
I hear that.
Like, like you're an athletic enough guy. Like, I think that's a lot different than the dads I'm talking about, where they're like, have not got a clue, man.
Well, yeah, we all played with their son.
No, they're the action sports dads that like used to skateboard and used to like dirt bike and stuff like that, and like now they're trying to coach a sport and they don't know how to like shoot a basketball or like throw a baseball. Like hand-eye coordination wasn't their game in any walk of life, and now they have a kid that's like super interested in playing a sport, and all their life they've been like mountain biking. And,
your time at the skate park served you really well for your formative years.
We all know those parents, and like you can kind of pick them out already, of like the parents that just lack the hand-eye coordination. Like they never had it, It's one of those things. Like you drop a ping pong ball and you find out pretty quick the athletes from non-athletes trying to have them pick up a ping pong ball, you know?
The ping pong ball.
There's no scholarships in our household, so
yeah, no, we're gonna be hard on academics. Let's just say that.
Oh man,
I'll be lucky there too.
Yeah. So what? Smarts and athletic ability are out. Like, are we?
We're just a good person.
Good person.
We go to church on Sundays, you know.
I raised a kind daughter, okay? And what else do you want from me?
Maybe we could dabble in 4-H, I guess.
Hey, there's some. You can get some valuable skills there.
Oh, they're
life
gonna be
skills.
they're gonna be like the president of FBLA. That's gonna be your jam. Love that. Love that for them.
Oh man, that's too good.
Dude, I honestly, are you guys ever? I'm never like worried about like the future of our daughters or like my daughters. I'm so curious, like genuinely curious.
I'm
I talk
very
to-
curious.
I talk about this all the time to Hannah. I just genuinely am like, I wonder what they're gonna be like when they grow up. Are they gonna be funny? Are they gonna be like strong-willed? Like, are they, you know, like what are they even gonna be like? You know, because as they're little kids, like you kind of get a feel, but it's like you don't know what they're gonna be like when they're 14, 15. You know, as an adult, I'm so curious.
Yeah, I don't want to wish the time away, but
yeah,
I do feel that.
Yeah,
I just get
I'm interested to see, like, yeah, same. I don't want time to go any faster. I already feel like, 5 months 100%. Right now is going to be 5 years before we know it. Even 1 year, I feel like I'll be able to tell so much. And I guess I'm not worried about it. Like you guys said, like, hey, we have great like marriage relationships, great family support. Like I'm not worried about that and like upbringing and background, but like, yeah, are they going to be funny? Are they going to be talented in something that we never thought of? Are they going to be smart? Because I'm like, hey, I'm not really favoring sitting in the classroom. Hannah doesn't either. So what? Then all of a sudden she does. And I'm like, well, where'd you get that from? Like
the milkman.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, it will be really interesting. It's exciting.
It is exciting.
It is, yeah. Well, and Clay, I mean, give us like a small preview of like the 2-year snapshot because you're the most vet here, and I'm sure Scotty made you think of Sloan at that age, and then probably how fast it's gone.
Yeah, really fast. Even Scotty is like 2 months old. It's crazy that she's already 2 months old. It feels like yesterday that we were at the hospital, but yeah, Sloan. I mean, we were talking about this today of like you could literally go away for a weekend and they're a new like kid, right? Like when you get back. And so every day is so much different than the last, but it's crazy how much they can do at such a young age. Like Sloan is 2 years and a couple of months, and so she'll be 3 at the end of this year, but she's already like trying to ride scooters and like trying to like I'm literally in the market for a bike right now, and so they're so active and themselves are like so curious about just everything, which is very, very cool. So I think they have unlimited energy always. Like I think I work from home, so like when I'm done for the day and go inside and play with Sloan, she's like, she wears me out way more than work ever could, just in the small amount of time. Like I'm running literally around the house as much as possible. So yeah, it's crazy how much energy they have, but like it's cool to see how curious they are just about trying out pretty much everything, whether it's drawing, whether it's playing on a tiny little tyke hoop, trying to ride a scooter, going outside and playing on swing sets and stuff. Like they just literally love everything. They love to do anything and everything. So it's just really cool. But it's a transition. Like as soon as they start walking, you guys will know this, but like in the next 6 months when they start walking at that time, like there's no looking back. Like they're like active forever. And so I didn't know this until Sloan started walking, but as soon as they start walking, like you'll never know a life without them walking. Like there's no more like stationary, pass the baby around kind of thing. It's like they want to be on their feet like 100% of the time. Like they don't want to really sit down, lay down, whatever. Like they want to be like bouncing around and doing things, which keeps you active, and it definitely will keep us young. So
That's crazy to think about. Right before that, the curiosity like that I can already see is so entertaining. And like watching her figure stuff out is amazing to me. I'm like watching her think through the steps to do something, or like to pick up a toy, or to reach for like sweatshirt strings, or like whatever it is. And then when she gets it and like you can see her get it, or like physically grab something, and like her realization and like her lighting up is just amazing. And then to your point about walking, we probably have the least kid-proof house possible. Like the sharp corners on the coffee table and everything. Like, is it a live and learn thing, or do we have to try to guess? Because I'm sure that even if we thought we had every edge and corner covered, she'd hit her head on the one that's not.
Yeah, that's a more natural thing. Like you guys will do the same as everybody else. Like you'll do your best and then realize as they're like running around, you're like, oh my gosh, like that outlet is not covered, and it's like the one that she's going for right now. So those things happen like naturally over time. But it is crazy how much they just start to pick up things super quick. Hannah and I have to like watch our mouths way more than ever. Like even at 2 years old, as soon as Sloan started talking, she was off to the races. Like she will pick up anything and everything. She was in the car today with Han and was telling her to slow down because she thought she was going too fast. So just like it's crazy the stuff they'll pick up. She asked me today, like I got back from work and she literally was like, hey, can we go to the movies this weekend? And I was like, how do you know what a weekend is? B, how do you know what a movie is? And when did you learn about movie theaters? Like what's going on here? So like, there's a lot of things that even I'm like, where did you pick this stuff up? But they just learn so like, well, everything sticks in their brain. So like when they talk about like formative years, like it feels like it's not later on in life. Like it feels like it's like younger where they just start like attaching themselves to everything. So, yeah, once they get off to the races, like it's no holding them back. Colton, I was talking to Hunter too about like prepare for this, but like preschool will sneak up on you. Like it will sneak up on you so fast. Hannah and I missed the preschool deadline by like 2 days because we were just like not messing around, but like we were trying to like figure out what preschools to take Sloan to and do whatever. Like she's 2. I was like, this is pretty young for her to go to preschool, but she does turn 3 this fall. So like technically preschool is 3 to 5 year olds. And so we are like going through some of the preschools that we like. We look up registration and I literally look at the date and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was 3 days ago. Like what is going on? Like I have to sign up for the fall semester in January. That was like 3 weeks ago. So like it was like the end of January was the deadline for August start dates for preschool for the 2024-2025 school year. So preschool will sneak up on you. Prepare in advance.
Didn't even realize that. Yeah, that's great.
That's like more stressful than college application deadlines.
And the thing is like it's totally like you don't have to take your kids to preschool. Nobody tells you to take your kids to preschool. So it's like totally the parents are like on their own. Like there's no buses that come pick up your kids. There's no like this is totally like self-service. Like if you don't take your kids to preschool, nobody's gonna knock on your door and ask why. There's like you basically just like word of mouth hear about some preschools around your town and then come to find out you're a couple days late on a deadline and now end up on a wait list. And so it's just it's crazy. Also, be prepared, everybody out there. Preschool costs money, and that's not something that I was fully aware of. Like, I went to public school, and I'm sure a lot of everybody else did. So yeah, preschool costs money, and it's not that cheap. So, and even the cheapest preschools cost money. So maybe dumb old Clayton over here didn't think preschool was going to be a big deal because they're literally 3 years old. But apparently preschools, if you need to get in a profession, get in the preschool business because they do pretty well.
Maybe it's a good thing that you missed the deadline, you know? Say you're just watching your wallet.
Yeah, my kid doesn't know how to read, but I guess we're good financially.
Yeah, you know?
Well, and then you think you mentioned the formative years, and like, you know, we try to think of our earliest memories at 4 or 5 years old. And so you're like, oh, they won't remember anything before that. But the stuff that inadvertently probably affects them, like from the early ages, that like Sloan won't remember that she asked you about the movies, but like the fact that she already knows that. So then her going to preschool and being able to put that to use, like you'll probably see her pick up on things that you're like, wait, Hen, you didn't teach her that. I didn't teach her that. And she'll just pick up on like cues and mannerisms from other kids as like the first real life exposure to the world, which is kind of wild to think about.
Who they are, right? Their personality and everything. But I do think that is one thing that freaks me out a little bit about like influences around your kid that you're unintentionally inviting, whether it's the school you choose to put them in, whether it's like the friends you choose to have that are like around them, you know, like different things like that are unintentional. Those are a little bit scary because you don't know how much of an impact they have. Hopefully it's all positive, but at the end of the day, it's like, you just have no idea. Like they could pick up, you know, the F word from Uncle Colton one day, and you're like, why did that happen? So it's one of those things.
That's probably pretty good. and if that's the worst thing that happens, you know what? I would chalk that up as you.
Yeah, we're gonna take that as a win. I like that.
Well, with like, so for Sloan, for example, with what she's picking up and probably what she hears, and she's saying stuff, and you're like, wait, how do you know how to say that? Like, I'm sure as a parent that like you're not scared, so you're like probably cautious of your music choices, for example. Like we always have music going, and like you're like, okay, if I'm not playing like hip hop with that's super explicit, I'm probably good. But then like Morgan Wallen comes on with a little bit of an explicit something or the message behind it, and you're like, wait, I didn't even ever realize that was bad, but now I'm second guessing that. Like, what's the balance there?
Yeah, the balance is they're hearing a lot of early 2000s alternative music with a lot of Snow Patrol, The Fray, Carolina Liars, like a lot of that. Just
the good news is
soft rock.
I mean, if it's not explicit stuff, like you grow up listening to like ZZ Top, and you never knew what Pearl Necklace was about until you were way later in life, you know? So,
and the truth is they're probably going to listen to the music anyway, right? So it's like we can protect them for as long as possible, but at the end of the day, it's like they're going to turn 13 with an iPod one day or an iPhone or something, and they're probably going to be downloading music that we also downloaded, so we can't really be that upset. Like, I remember downloading my first Eminem album in middle school and being like, I'm sure my mom doesn't love this.
Plays a bad boy.
Yeah, like going to jail for this. Like that was my thought when I was in seventh grade.
That's how you must have won Hanover, huh?
Yeah, no, rap god. That's right.
For real, mine was every Saturday. My aunt would watch us, and in my mom's car it was always Christian radio. My dad was either country or classic rock, but my mom had a little bit of like an asterisk of like, hey, no, like AC/DC as the main part of it. Well, my aunt had a burnt CD of only AC/DC songs that she would just pump, and so my mom would pick us up and we're singing You Shook Me All Night Long or Long Way to the Top. And
oh man,
I mean, it's out there. Like at some point, we have to know that what we teach our kids will filter through that enough, but to where they can also respect the good stuff.
Yeah. I remember my mom was never like too particular, but my dad had a Nickelback Dark Horse album CD, and I I always felt like so bad, even though I'm like in the truck with my dad, like, but we're listening to these songs, and I'm just like, like, oh man, this is so bad, like, but yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I'm
what's
not saying we should start it at 2, but it's probably gonna happen eventually.
It's hard to find the line between like what's appropriate, like age appropriate for some kids, and what's like you're like, this is age appropriate, but damn, this is a good song. Like you should probably know the song. Like
Yeah.
this Tupac song like really shaped music. Like you should really listen to this song. And then Hannah nudges me and she's like, dude, they're 5 years old. Please stop. So,
You're
you
like,
don't need to know who Biggie Smalls is. That's okay.
yeah. You're like, but really, Rockstar by Nickelback helped me in a lot of ways.
You have no idea how loud I was blasting Photograph by Nickelback. Like,
Or Saving Me. Just like turn that up.
dude, I just want real quick. Hannibal like messaged me every day about MGK because I'm a decent MGK fan. Like I like MGK. I know that that's unpopular, but shout out to Hannibal. He sends me every day a video of MGK on some social media platform. He'll send me a DM of some MGK, like either social media post or some fan account. Like every day I get a dose of MGK from Hannibal. So shout out him.
Did you see? Speaking of Hannibal, did you see he was at Daytona and met Alvin Kamara?
No way.
Yeah, like what in the hell?
Dude, it got rained out too. It was like miserable, and of
He
course
stayed.
he's still.
He stayed until Monday.
I know they were at like a gun range that same Sunday. He was like, yeah, got rained out. They went to the gun range and shot guns. I was like, this is the best weekend ever.
Wasn't he at the race in like Scottsdale or wherever it was out west? Because they do like Arizona, Las Vegas, California, and then go to the East Coast.
I think he was at the Waste Management Tour.
That's what I was
going to
say. I think he was at the Waste Management is where he was.
That was it.
And then he went to the Daytona 500.
Yeah, he's had a wild 2 weeks. Like the Waste Management and the Daytona have to be like two of the wildest weekends, like sporting weekends.
Tell me a weekend that's not wild.
Yeah, that's true.
That is. I mean, that 2 week stretch though. Talk about a transition from football, nothing. Like break until the Super Bowl. Okay, so we'll throw the Waste Management Open in there, and then you kick off the week following Super Bowl with Daytona 500, and that fills your time until baseball season. It's quite the transition.
I forgot he also went to the Super Bowl.
I just was about to say that. I was like, wait a second, didn't he go to the Super Bowl? So he went to the Super Bowl, Waste Management Open, Daytona 500. Like this man is on an absolute rampage for like bucket list items. Like I think I want to go to each one of those like once in my life. Hannibal did it in a 3 week stretch.
Wouldn't you want to spread those out?
No, dude. I think he's been to the Waste Management Open too before. Like he's just the man.
Did you see they ran out of beer?
Well, they didn't run out of beer. They stopped serving beer.
They stopped serving.
Selling it because people were like, I kind of want to be there to be like almost like obviously not to that level, but like to witness that and enough to like, in college you're like, man, I'm not drunk enough to deal with these people, or you're like to a point where it's just right, but being able to be a spectator for everybody around you, I feel like that's prime people watching.
Dude, I saw a metric that was like twice as many people got arrested at this Waste Management Open than 2022 or 2023. But it was like they had like a list of citations year over year, and it was like 2021 or 2022 was like X amount. It doubled in 2023, and then it doubled the double in 2024. And so apparently it was just like absolute chaos. They were having to arrest so many people. There was not enough security, police people, police personnel around. And then I also heard they stopped checking tickets. Like they were just letting people in because they were overran by people.
I also love the fact that the golfers are getting irritated by fans heckling them, and they have to deal with what every other sport deals with.
Yeah.
I love it.
Also,
What's the one hole there for the hole in one, like famous every year? Which hole is that? You guys remember?
I think it's the 16th. 16th. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds right.
But yeah, I saw, so there's a video of, I forget which golfer, but he was like, hey man, I'm trying to hit a golf shot. And people were like, dude, you just can't sound that upset when you say golf shot in the same sentence. That just doesn't sound that hard to do when somebody's heckling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How can I say this in a less offended and soft sounding way?
Like, at least say you're trying to do your job. Like, I don't know, like say something that's like relatable. Like, I'm trying to hit a golf shot, man. Like,
yeah.
Like,
Hey, I'm working over here.
I thought until that happened, I thought, like soccer players or, basketball players were like the biggest babies. But dude, after watching the Waste Management this year, definitely golfers. Like for sure. Biggest whiners. Like, did not know that. But
for sure. Except I do hate how many videos I see on like a daily basis of NBA players like kicking fans out for like, it used to be like, oh, they're calling me racial slurs. It's like, that is not the case anymore. It's like, they'll be like, oh, hey, you bum. It's like, hey, that guy, let's get him out of here. It's like, really? Like that was like the point of no return. Lame. So yeah. I saw Russell Westbrook kick out like a father and his son because he was calling him a bum. Which is
it was boy, and it was the way he was saying boy. It was the tone, as my wife says. It's not what you're saying; it's your tone of voice.
Or how it made you feel.
Yeah.
the way that it made you feel. But like, honestly,
poor guy.
Don't you guys remember hearing worse than that in like a high school basketball game? Like the opposing student sections.
Dude,
I remember hearing worse things just at public school in general. Like
I was gonna say
sporting events.
Dude, I went to a 1A high school in Spokane, Washington. Yeah, like the amount of just derogatory everything was incredible.
Yeah,
I didn't even know some of the words people were yelling at kids that were 14 on the basketball court. Like,
man,
go home, search it, and make sure to clear your history when you're done.
Yeah, Urban Dictionary was like my top search.
What a lifesaver, though. I mean, for the early 2010s.
Gosh, man.
Had to have it. That was and then, now you could just look it up on your phone, but it's not like you could connect to the school Wi-Fi to be able to look up what somebody said.
Not a chance. No. Also, Urban Dictionary like led you down a wrong path like 90% of the time. Like,
yes.
you're like, is that what it means, or is somebody messing with me on top of me having to look this up? So like, you had to like fact check Urban Dictionary. It was like the worst system ever.
Yeah.
And then you would go down a rabbit hole, and you're like, damn, dude, I'm never gonna figure out what that means.
Then you got to like embarrassingly ask your friend. You got that one buddy that he knows what it means to like help you out.
Oh, we always know that like one friend that knew pretty much every single word in the book. Where you're like, hey, dude, can you let me in on this little secret of yours?
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, how do you know that?
Yeah. Oh man.
Where did they get all that knowledge from? Like what?
Especially if they don't have like an older sibling, because I feel like that was always the default. Like,
True,
they have an older sibling, but like
it's all the kids that watch Cartoon Network.
Yeah. Or what was the one like the late night
Nick at Night.
Oh, like Adult Swim.
Oh, dude.
Yes, there you
You-
go. That's for
Dude.
sure.
If that was even accidentally on in our household, you would think that like a nuclear missile was about to hit Earth. Like it was not good. Not good. Even if like a show ran over and then Adult Swim was like right after, if we kept the TV on, oh man. Like my mom used to think it was like the seventh sin. Like it was crazy.
I wasn't even allowed to watch like Cartoon Network. So I mean, Adult Swim. That's
Same.
a totally different ballpark. Like,
Same. That's why I said Cartoon Network, because Cartoon Network was like my mom thought Cartoon Network was like breeding just demon children, which
yeah, like
She was- I don't think she was wrong,
would come
actually.
on and they'd be like, "Oh man, turn this off! What is this?"
in fairness, I think I watched like one or two episodes and it is like a scary show. Like
Oh,
that-
yeah.
It's not a kid show.
no, God no. No, that
Also
was
thinking
terrifying.
of stuff that we watched in like middle school, which are another, I feel like, period of formative years that then we're thinking, do we want our kids to watch? Or you watch it again now and you're like, wait, there's no way that I would have understood what they meant with the amount of life experience I had then that I do now. Like even stuff in The Office or in Friends that you watch now and you're like, that's so funny because I can relate to it being either like in the workforce or in my late 20s or whatever it is. But then you're like, wait, I don't even know if you should be watching that in high school, let alone like when we all turned on The Office in middle school for the first time.
Yeah, I remember Tosh.0 coming on after, like it was on at like
man.
3:30 every day. And so coming home before my mom got home and throwing on Tosh.0 and being like, man, I feel dirty after this. Like Tosh, he was like off the rails in
He
the like late
went for it.
2010s. Yeah, but it was like network television. The way he
Totally.
it's like I don't know how they allowed him to say what he was saying on network television, but it was funny. He's still funny.
Yeah, he is. People are gonna watch what we watched in like the 2007 to 2012 era and be like, wow, this must be like 80s television or something with how unfiltered it was. And we're like, no, that was like prime time for us.
Dude, people even try to post like The Office on TikTok and they're like, see, The Office is like homophobic, and you're like, what? What's
Yeah.
going on? Like it's just a different era.
Yeah.
That's all.
And like being able to understand that kind of humor, I feel like that won't be replicated. Like that sticks with our generation.
No. Yeah, there's some things. I actually, speaking of our childhood high school era, did you guys see that there's going to be a sequel to Project X?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Damn, talk about a blast from the past.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
right?
that was like I can picture myself in like 2011 with that.
I think I saw it in the theaters twice because it came out in the summer and like all of our friends were like, oh, this is so cool. And we were like 16. There's no way we were ever going to like replicate anything close to that. They're like, oh, this is the sickest thing of all time.
Yeah.
Half of us couldn't even drive yet.
Yeah. I love how some of the sequels that are coming back like makes you feel just enough of a piece of that, and some of them you're like, could have done without it. Like not needed.
Toy Story 5 that's coming out.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
when what was it? Toy Story 3 came out like when we were in college or something, and that was like, hey, 20-year anniversary, this is perfect timing. But then like, hey, stop there.
And then
Yeah,
Toy Story 4 came out.
Yeah.
Dude, the one good thing about having a 2-year-old at like when it comes to like TV is like we finally passed the stage of having to watch like Bluey, Miss Rachel, stuff like that. She is very down to watch any like Disney movie. So we were watching Lilo and Stitch the other day. So
Nice.
we were getting all these like blasts from the past that were nice.
You
But
bust out the VHS.
No, Disney Plus is a wonderful thing and very worth it. When you,
I was
when you've
gonna
got a
say
2-year-old.
so those kind of
I also
movies
saw
like
that-
So those play though, like those old Disney movies, like those haven't expired. Like those are fair game.
No, they're great quality still. I like we watched Ratatouille yesterday.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it was great. So, yeah, no, they still play and kids still love them. So, as long as they still like them, I'm down for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's you know what just came out with Timothy Chalamet is Willy Wonka, like a new Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh
which
wow.
absolutely zero people ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
nobody needed that.
probably could have got left where it was with because there was Willy Wonka and then there was Charlie, right?
Yeah, I think Johnny Depp played in the last one
Yeah.
before this.
Yeah.
I don't think my parents let me watch that one. Johnny Depp, that was like before I'll just say 2024 time. And
yeah,
I
we
don't-
watched it a ton. It was a good movie, but now looking back, there's a lot of psychedelic references. I'll be honest, a lot of adult references that I don't think I understood as a little kid. But
Oh, but
Yeah.
your parents let you listen to Elton John.
well, Johnny Depp looked like a homeless person in that movie too. Like he was
yeah, that's fair.
crazy person.
I do have to say, talking about Sloan and the TV, what are you going for a snack plate? Like, I know Colton and I aren't there yet, but like, what do you dish up for a kid like 2.5? Like, is it crackers? Is it like veggies? Is it fruit? Like, is it chicken nuggets? Is there like any go-tos or aversions at this point?
Yogurt, like frozen yogurt pops. So I forget what company makes them, but I pretty much just direct deposit whatever my paycheck is into this company's stock essentially every month, because I think I literally spend like $120 a month on these frozen yogurt pops. They come in like 8 packs, which Sloan takes down in about 2 days. So she doesn't like them not frozen, which is fair. But yeah, they're just like these frozen yogurt pops that are apparently like they're like dye free and organic and all this.
I was gonna
stuff
say
that
though, like,
I don't.
are they? I'm sure they're good and like, you know, healthy enough for her. But like, can you slip one, or are they decent?
They're decent in like a small portion size, but I'm not gonna like take down a whole one. Like to be honest, like they're kind of nasty. They're like if Go-Gurts like died in a very sad way. You know, it's like really, it's organic Go-Gurts, which should speak for themselves. Like it's just kind of gross Go-Gurts. And I used to love Go-Gurts.
And then you're like,
so-
hey, at some point, like, I'm behind. Hey, like, don't give all the dyes, all the whatever ingredients, but also like, we made it here with however many Go-Gurts and Gusherts and fruit by the foot. Like, you got to have a little bit of balance, right?
dude, our parents were painting houses with lead paint. Like our kids can have a little bit of red dye. Like, come on.
Like all of the first homes that we grew up in definitely had asbestos.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. At least,
I
if
lived
not
in
mold
I lived in
everywhere.
army housing, so like, you know, that's definitely some old quarters.
Yeah, no, that's Mold City, definitely. But yeah, frozen yogurt pops are like the go-to. We also get the like apparently Mott's like fruit snacks. They're like some of the healthier fruit snacks. So Sloan's on a frozen yogurt and fruit snack diet, but I try to mix in a few apple slices for her every now and then. But
I mean, I can get behind
I
the
heard-
fruit snacks too.
I heard that those fruit snacks are really good in coffee, Clay.
Oh yeah, Sloan's in this mood. So we got like this local chicken place tonight, dude. Sloan is in this like mood or phase where she'll just like combine like gross things together. Like she'll take your like soda or she'll take your drink and throw like fries and chicken down it and then she'll like, hey, she'll like order you to give her a spoon, and then she's literally over there like stirring this like a witch pot, and I'm just like, dude, this is the grossest thing I've ever seen. Like, this is, but
I mean, I don't know what you guys called it, but like you go to the soda fountain and you hit everyone for like a graveyard. Like that's what we
Graveyard,
always
yeah.
called it. That's
Yeah.
like, probably more the like 6 to 10-year-old, but like everybody has to do it to know that how nasty it is. But that's unfortunate when you lose your fries or your nuggets into the drink.
Yeah,
Unless
it's
it's a
just honestly
milkshake. I have to say that.
rookie move on my part, not getting an extra drink, knowing that she would probably
Extra.
yoink one of ours. So that's, you know what, that's on me. That's a learning experience, and we'll get better from this and move forward.
Hey, it could be a little side hustle. I will say, like in middle school, I did mix some things together to eat, and people would pay me. So maybe she's a little entrepreneur.
Maybe
This sounds like Colton was making some 21 plus gummies or something.
No. It just would be like gross stuff that like people would, you'd like get a couple buddies to do it for like $10, and I'd be like, yeah, whatever.
It sounds like Colton was actually like the first like youth jackass. So like he actually started that video series for kids. Which would be a great hit on YouTube if anybody wanted to start that nowadays. Like some like Miss Rachel Daredevil stuff. It's like Miss Rachel, but like them doing crazy shit, but it's like G rated. I don't know how to get away with that, but
yeah,
I can see
could that play with like our daughters, or does that have to be like, hey, we have to wait till somebody has a boy?
It would be funny if somebody else's daughters were watching it, but I probably wouldn't let our daughters watch it.
You watch it in bed on your phone after everybody's asleep. You're like laying over there on the side, like
Facts.
You're watching it.
Yeah, exactly. That's
like
true.
the merry-go-rounds that are like outlawed now, and you have kids just hanging on as it's hooked up to like a tractor or an ATV with a pulley system or something. You get a kid, like the first kid, just like
curious.
You're curious for what?
I mean, I am curious, like how just kids in general, how they are going to like in the future consume media. Like we were on TVs and whatever, but like we didn't have iPads or tablets or anything like that. But now kids are into tablets, but like even more so, they're into like YouTube and stuff. So like network television and like Nickelodeon, Disney, Cartoon Network, like they're not even gonna know. Like I could like tell you the channel number that we used to watch, Yeah. Like these kids are going to just like look up and search what they want on YouTube. I'm curious what that turns into, like as parents, like how we're going to have to like adapt to all of that.
Speaking of program numbers, man, my dad still has like DirecTV, and trying to teach him how to use Hulu. It's in ABC order. Like the alphabet. I mean, this is like day one stuff, and that's like confusing. He's like every time he comes to try to figure out how to watch, all he's trying to do is just watch ESPN. Like he doesn't care what's on. Maybe he wants to watch Fox News from time to time, and I'm like, hey, good news. Though E and F, those letters are like one right after another. So like. You just go to the guide and boom, like your two favorite channels right next. I don't really know how to work this. I don't understand. Like,
dude, that's hilarious.
I don't know how to help.
Why doesn't my remote have numbers on it? What the hell is going on? Like, actually, Dad, you can just search for the name. He's like, I don't like that.
Here, let me get you set up with the app remote on your phone, and he like throws it across the room.
Yeah.
He's like, where is your TV guide? Like, I want the paper TV guide. Can I reference that?
Where are the pay-per-views? Like, damn it.
I want to go past the 700 music channels, please. Like, come on.
How do you listen to music? Like, what is this nonsense on the TV?
Yeah.
Like, you can't even get numbers on here.
I think,
Colton, you should pull the biggest prank on your dad ever and definitely get him like a Roku TV for his birthday this year.
My parents have an Apple TV.
Oh,
That's even funnier that they've been like.
So right when
Apple
he gets
TV
Apple
people.
down, then you give him Hulu, and he's just out of here.
He's like, dude, I don't know.
They have Hulu, but he uses DirecTV for like how he watches everything. So when he comes and just tries to use Hulu, because I have Hulu plus live TV, and yeah, we had it in Alaska. I'm like, you can literally fly a helicopter and the alphabet stumps you. Like, what is going on here?
That's brutal.
He's like so intelligent. He's been a pilot for how long? But Hulu is the one thing that gets him.
That's
Hulu.
it.
It's not anything but Hulu. It's really giving him trouble.
Honestly, I think back to the numbers that you can remember, like growing up, I think that's what's wrong with the world when we went away from 2-digit channels. Like we get these 1,000 number channels, and like I think that's what's wrong with the world. You can't go to like ESPN for me was 34, Root Sports was 37. That's all I needed.
Yep.
I think ESPN was also 34 for me too.
Yeah, it depends. It was like ESPN was like 32, ESPN 2 was 33. It was like up from there, right?
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
But,
love that.
Yeah, man.
Oh man.
The good old days.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot to learn still, and I think we'll be able to build off of stuff that we are still finding that we'll teach our parents, that hopefully we can teach our kids in the same way.
I just can't wait for my kid to teach me how to do something and make me feel as dumb as I'm trying to not make my dad feel.
Have you guys seen this trend of like kids kids are super into watching streams now? It's like watching people they call them like IRL streams. It's like in real life streams.
I was going to say that when you said YouTube earlier, like people watch other kids play games, and I'm like, wait, you don't have a controller.
Yeah, dude. Like it's like beyond gaming now. Like
the IRL, like toy reviews. Like kids will watch other kids play with toys.
Yeah. Toy reviews, but like have you seen like the Aiden Rosses and things like that? Like kids are now watching people just like do normal things. They'll like have a camera follow them throughout their like day of doing like cool things because they're like rich, because they're really popular streamers. So they'll literally like watch a live stream of Aiden Ross going to like the car dealership to go buy a new like Lambo or something like that. And then they'll like watch a live stream of him going to the UFC fights. And it's not the UFC fights, it's watching Aiden Ross go to the UFC fights, like get ready for the fights and stuff like that. I'm like, what? Like we're resorting to like watching other people live their lives.
Yeah, so there's a disconnect.
So bizarre
for me. Like I don't get it. I don't know how you could just sit there and just like be, you want to be invested or you want to be fascinated by whatever you're watching. I don't get it. Maybe I'm old. Maybe I'm like how we think our parents are compared to these like 10 and 12-year-olds.
Yeah, I don't know. Like if they're popular now, I know a lot of these streamers are getting like multi-million-dollar streaming deals just to stream and do these things. So it's like if money's being pumped in there, I can't imagine how much like viewership is happening on those platforms. But yeah, it's weird. It's definitely more of a boy thing though, right? Like I don't think there's a lot of like interest in girls watching streams. I may be wrong about that, but like I don't think that there's a lot of like female audiences watching some of these guys going by a Lambo,
Yeah,
I guess that's fair. Also I know that YouTube has like all the ads and that's how people get paid, but people are literally making a living on this kind of stuff, and I honestly don't know where that money comes from. And that sounds like an old person thing to say.
A little bit, but it's like it's true. It's like these people are getting paid millions of dollars to stream. It's like who is like putting up the money? Like there's no way that there's that many advertisements on a live stream, right? It's like in the middle of a
like
live
a
stream,
5-second ad that you skip past.
Yeah, it's wild, but I guess that's the future. Speaking of the future, have you guys seen the ESPN Fox like CBS deal that is coming? That is going to have like one streaming service that's like their own streaming service that just has sports. It sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I heard that. I think they announced it like right at the Super Bowl or after that it'll be there like for next year's football season. But I'm pumped for that, which it's kind of like going back to cable or satellite, but like it needs to happen.
Yeah, 100%. Like I'd be happy to pay, $20 a month, $30 a month. The only reason why I pay for live TV is for sports. So
Yeah.
like, if I could pay $30 for live sports and then just keep like a $7 Hulu subscription, I'm down with that. That would literally cut my TV bill in like half. So I literally cancel live TV like when it's not football season or baseball season. There's like 4 months out of the year where I like cancel live TV.
That's the best part about these month to month. I mean, that's the only good option about it is to have the option to, hey, I'm good right now. Like I'll see you in a couple months, and you re-up the subscription. You know what got a lot of people? I think I had ended my Fubo membership in January, and then I waited till the Super Bowl, and I did the Paramount Plus. I think Paramount Plus probably just banked millions of dollars on people getting the free 7-day subscription and not canceling after the Super Bowl, because I got hit and it was only like $6, but I bet they got so many people.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
Yeah.
I heard Super Bowl commercials this year. It was like $5 million for a 30-second spot. So it's like crazy numbers because
they were so underwhelming.
Well, they're just commercials that already existed. They weren't like new commercials.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'd see them like in other places, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah. They haven't been good in a while.
Yeah, I wonder why they've moved to that, to like get a preview of the commercial before it officially airs. Like that just takes the glamour out of it. Like you spend all this money for a Super Bowl ad time slot and then you show it on social media like the week leading up to it.
Yeah. Very weird. Very strange. But I mean, if you spend that much money, I guess you're trying to recoup it in any way possible. So you're just trying to buy as many spots as humanly possible because production was so expensive. I mean, a commercial with like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and stuff like that, like you paid them so much money for the production of it that you're just like, we need to get our money's worth.
Just blast it out here.
Yeah, like we can't just have a 30-second spot. Like we need to literally have like a week-long run of commercials. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, where did Temu get all their money from?
Dude, they're getting clowned like so bad. Like, almost feel bad for them.
The ads that they run on Facebook and Instagram and then like those commercials, I was like, I thought this was all just like, I don't know, like run-of-the-mill crap that nobody actually ever clicked on.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know what Temu is. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm gonna put on a little tinfoil hat, and I'm saying they're getting their money from child trafficking.
Ooh.
So that's my little tinfoil hat. Conspiracy theorist.
Who was accused of that?
It was
what? It was like a furniture place.
What?
It was like a furniture place, right? Or
was it Wish?
It was Wayfair.
Yes, yeah. There you go.
They hid it in like the names in like a bathroom vanity. I'll use James because we said that earlier. Like bathroom vanity James White.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
I don't know.
Terrible.
I have no idea on Temu, and this is me just spouting bullshit, but I was like, where is all that? They ran like 7 ads during the
since just because you opened the can, I thought I had heard some background with some relation to China, so I'll just say that to try to not get canceled beyond that, but I thought I had heard China somewhere.
China.
China.
Oh
No, I have no idea. I don't even know. I didn't even pay attention to the commercial, to be completely honest. I don't know what they were. Well, actually, I think they were advertising like cheap stuff, right?
That's the premise of what it is. It's like, oh, you can usually get this for $275. Here it is for $299 plus shipping.
Yeah.
The shipping's like $200.
Yeah, there it is.
Is it one of those like auction places where you have to like bid, like every bid or every
That
cent
was
is
like
what
a
the
wish.com something. I thought, I don't know if it's a similar format.
I don't know. I'm scared if I like search it, I'll get like flagged or something.
Dude, you're already flagged. Come on.
Yeah. You think you're not on a list somewhere, Colton?
Dude. Sheesh.
I can't remember. Mackenzie asked me something the other day. Man, I wish I could remember. Probably wouldn't be appropriate to say on TV, but she was asking how to either make or look up something, and she was like, "Do you think I'd get flagged if I Google search that?" And I was like, "I definitely would not like search how to do whatever. I would definitely not do that." Like, I can't remember what it was.
How
I
to
wish I
mix
could remember,
chemicals to
but
make explosive. Yeah, dude, I definitely wouldn't do that. Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks for asking, though.
Like,
What
you do
happens
that
if I
on
mix
your
hairspray?
phone. Do not borrow my phone.
Actually, let's buy a burner now that I think of it. Thank you. Yeah, let's go do that instead.
You looked up something with Instapot and some like nails and stuff for a project, and all of a sudden you're like labeled everywhere.
Oh,
Your
man.
back-to-back searches, like when Hannah sent her screenshot of search history, something with a forklift and a basketball player.
So funny.
Oh, man.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting late. We should probably get off of this thing, but thanks for hopping on, guys. This was a
Yeah,
fun
appreciate
one,
it.
and
Yeah.
I think it's the first of many.
Yeah, for sure. I will see you guys very soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward
Right
to a
around the
little
corner.
in-person action.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, boys. See you guys later.
All right,
We'll talk to you later.
all right. Go hug the girls.
All right. Have a good
See you
night.
guys.
All right, see you guys.